All right, well, good morning, Gabe.
Good morning.
Captain?
Ahoy.
You're supposed to say captain.
Captain?
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 Captain? What's that movie?
I don't know. Airplane.
Is it? Thank you. It's airplane. Captain? 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 Or doctor? 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 Doctor. So anyway, it's a little after 7 o'clock. We are heading to Savannah, Georgia today. We're going to go 10 knots. We're going 10.2 right now, Gabe. But that's okay. We're still inside the harbor. The whale zone doesn't start until immediately after the breakwater coming out of Charleston Harbor. There is a notice to mariners that there is a yellow buoy that's apparently broke aground and is hanging out around the entrance of the channel. I don't think we're going to go back that far. So today, about 10-hour cruise down to Savannah, Georgia, and then on to Brunswick, and then on to Jacksonville. So we left the dock around 6:55 this morning. We have Gabe and Henry on board. So Henry's coming along. Uh-oh. Gabe's making a note in my logbook already. What's wrong?
Depart 6:55.
What's that?
Depart 6:55.
Oh. So this is going to be a slow crawl heading out. Seas should be 1 foot, I think 8 seconds. So we'll see what happens when we get out there and judge that. Everything seems to be fine. I'm going to run down in the engine room, do an engine room check. We're running around 1,500 RPM. Boat's never gone this fast before. 10.1. So we'll do an engine room check and make sure everything's fine, and then we'll start heading out to sea. Okay, we are just past the jetties coming out of Charleston. And Henry, what did we just talk about?
Sports?
No, before that. The important thing about the boat.
Make sure there's enough gas in the day tank.
Fuel.
Less than 400.
Fuel. So we're not even out of the breakwater yet. There's the jetties back there, and I'm already talking about fuel. If you know me long enough, you know that everything's about fuel. So Gabe and I were just talking, and I said, you know, what do we got in what tank? And I think when should we transfer and stuff like that. And we went down and looked in the captain's logbook, and it says don't have under 400 gallons in the day tank. How much do we have in the day tank?
About 400.
About 400 gallons. So we're already transferring fuel. We've got 3,800 gallons, I think, in the day tank. We got 2 saddle tanks and then an aft tank. So we're going to take 300 from each saddle tank and drop that into the day tank. That should get us down to Savannah without a problem. And we have to be mindful that when we go to, tugboat out there, when we go to Jacksonville, we're actually going to be doing some welding in the engine room. So we've got to be mindful of that, because we're going to have to transfer all that fuel back out that's in the day tank and put that back into the aft tank. But we need fuel to get there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to transfer fuel right now, and we should have enough to get there. And that's Charleston in the background. Henry, how do you like it so far?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. Nice day out here. Should be a good ride down, assuming we can get enough fuel in the day tank. Okay, so it's 9:20. We've got our first problem. The port transmission is running hot around 150, 160 degrees on the cooler, and the other side's running at 60. So we're gonna have to shut down the port motor, and I'm gonna have to rebuild the cooler, or at least rip it apart and figure out what's going on with it. But I gotta shut down the port engine here, starboard engine. Hold on, I'm gonna shut down the starboard engine here, and I gotta rebuild the cooler and see what's plugged up in it. The engine's running fine, so it's not a water delivery problem to the engine, it's a water delivery problem to the cooler. So I'm going to get this shut down here and rip it apart, see where we're at. Hopefully make sure that we've got some gasket maker, pipe thread sealant, clear drying. Here's some pipe dope. So hopefully we'll have some gasket maker kicking around here that I can use to put it back together again. Hopefully get this cleaned out and figure out what's going on. So I'll keep you guys posted. So 9:20, we're already having problems. We'll get it sourced. Of course, I made an espresso before I went in the engine room. So I'm going to finish this, suit up, and get in there. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you here is where the water flow is going. It's going from the impeller, through that blue hose, through the cooler, out the other blue hose, and then up into the engine. It's extremely noisy in there, so I can't talk to you. So I'm going to pull these two, well, theoretically, I'm going to pull these two couplings right here and see if we can get it sourced. And notice the oil leak there as well. And no surprise, the gate valve won't shut. So we've just added that onto the list and made this project extremely harder to do. Not only that, but I also busted a bolt. So that's great. Well, it's 10 o'clock, so I guess before we go too far, I busted a bolt on the cooler and we can't get the gate valve shut down. So I'm apprehensive to do anything right now. So we're gonna wait till we get to Savannah. It's only running 160. Henry's coming up. You look like the Nook of the North there, man. Like, you look like you're from Maine or something. Where are you from?
From Maine.
Oh, I nailed it. Maine.
Go Sox.
Go Sox. With a Boston accent and everything.
I've worked hard to get rid of it.
Do you guys have Boston accents in Maine?
We have Maine accents.
Well, I know the Maine.
Trashier.
Yes.
Boston accents.
Yeah.
Not as bad as New Hampshire, but just still.
I got another buddy who's also been in these videos. He's a new mate on one of our other boats, and he's fresh out of Maine.
Oh, God.
And some of the euphemisms or whatever the heck you call them that he says, like, you guys are still saying rad.
Oh yeah,
Wicked, rad, and a couple other things. It's quite entertaining. We got rid of those slangs in the 80s.
Oh yeah?
Maybe totally phased out by the 90s, but Maine's a little slower.
It is.
In their time.
It is.
So you'll phase out of that.
Yeah, LL Bean is still cool up there.
Well, I mean, that's a staple. So anyway, we're gonna wait till we get to Savannah before I can look at that, because the gate valve and just everything else, I don't want to be opening up cans of worms out here. It's just easier and safer at the dock, and it's only running about 160, so that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, it is a spectacular day out here. There's not nearly a ripple to be found, just a little slight swell, but it's gorgeous. So we're gonna putt our way back down. We're doing 9.4 right now, just so the Coast Guard and NOAA can see. 9.5, we are well under the threshold of the 10 knot range. Just coming up on the Stono Inlet, well, actually just past it. We're coming up on Edisto and Bohicket. So we're gonna pull a boat out of there, hopefully maybe this week, and bring that down to St. Augustine next. So that'll be our next trip. I think it's a 44-foot sport fish or something. Don't even know. The owner just called me the other day. Anyway, so Henry's gonna take watch for the next 3 hours-ish. I'll hang out with him for a little bit, make sure the log gets done and nothing else pops up. And otherwise, it's gonna be a nice slow ride down to Savannah. Okay, so I said that we lost the port generator, which is over there in the corner. And then when I went in, I thought I'd seen some spray or mist of some diesel, and I knew I could smell it. So when I went down to check engines again, I noticed that the ray core for the port generator was leaking. So now I just drained it. The fuel filter was black, so I changed that out, but now I've drained it and I've got to rebuild the fuel filter, the ray core. So I'm going to rebuild that right now, put everything back together again, and hopefully get this generator back online, because the other generator is about to overheat and that's going to go down. So I got to get this one going first. So I'm going to try race against time and get that one rebuilt and back up online before the other one goes down. So clearly it's extremely noisy in here again, and as you can see, I'm pointing at stuff. I lost that top underneath the transmission. It took me about 20 minutes to find the thing. It never ever ends. So here I am, I've got it all drained out, put it back into a diesel container, and now I'm going to have to rebuild that ray core system right there. Got a brand new clean filter in. As you can see, it's nice and red. The other one was black. I've redone the whole bowl, drained everything out. and those 4 bolts right there is what I've dropped, and that was leaking. Checked the rest of the system, made sure that the check valve and everything else was good, and then reassembled everything. Perfect spot to be working, by the way. And I've got it all filled back up. It's dry as a bone, a little residual there, and now I'm going to bleed it and get the generator fired back up. Of course, I left the top undone to the rate core, so it drained back out again, and I had to reprime it again. Okay, so it is 2:44. Just turned, making our initial approach into Tybee Roads right there, and then we'll be coming up. Got a ship coming out up through here, and then right up in there. That's where we're going. So I'll take about an hour or so. We're gonna run right there. We don't need to run all the way out here. It's 40 feet here, it's 40 feet there. What's the difference? So I just made the turn right here, and we're coming in. These are all the anchored ships out here. There's tons of them that are on AIS, not on AIS. It's beautiful out here. Still running about 1400 RPM. Hey, I didn't even know you were there. You're sleeping. It's beautifully calm out. So we are heading, see that ship right up in there? Way up in there. He's coming out, we're gonna be going in, so that's where we're headed. Henry, have we found a spot for dinner?
I have a couple of options for us to make.
There you go. That's all we really need to know.
Yeah. Have some good ones.
Good. And all the ships out there are just hanging out. I've got the Raycor source. That seems like it's working fine. We're back on the port generator now, so everything seems to be working well. And the temperature of the transmission has also gone back down, so I might not do anything with that either when we get into port. So that will be cool. So everything seems like it's working pretty well. We'll wait to see and do a final engine room check when I get there. Actually, I'll probably do one before we get into Tybee Roads, just to make sure nothing's going to happen. And make sure we don't have a collision with that guy coming out. But man, it is calm out here. It's cooled down a little bit just because of cloud cover, but it was a beautiful ride down here. Savannah. There's the pilot boat right next to it. It doesn't get any calmer than this. Not out in the open ocean. We're done. I don't know why that light is on, but we are on the dock. Right in front of the Queen. Welcome to Savannah. Let's go get some dinner. Springs, bow, and stern.
Yep, roger.
Yeah, just do those lines one at a time, check them on the rail. And then hustle back and we'll hop on the string.
You can hear the engines going up and down. Those are my transmissions that I'm using to keep the boat to the dock instead of using a bow thruster. By alternating which engine I'm using, keeps the boat to the dock, and I don't have to worry about using a bow thruster or the boat getting too far away from the dock and the crew not being able to get on board.
Clear. All on board, all clear. Pretty good, thank you.
Alright, we're off the dock. So let's switch up to these controls. There we go. And last look of the city before we head into the darkness. Little outgoing tide with us, or that it's the river where it's slack tide, so hopefully we can gain a little speed on the way out. I don't know what this guy's fishing for or doing out there, but he's like a freaking gnat. He's been following me for like 4 miles, and he just goes around in circles and spins. Turn your lights off. I mean, I don't even see any crab pots out here. I don't know what he's doing besides just running around blinding me. He keeps coming around the boat. He just headed back up the river. Now he's coming back down again. There's no crab traps or anything in the water, and he's just sitting there doing circles, spinning around. Just really, I mean, look how bright those lights are. And you know, the sun's up a little bit, but when it was pitch black out, really hard to see any of the buoys or marks as he comes around the channel. Nope, there's nothing there. He's just gonna spin around in a circle. know. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, if you're that guy in the Savannah River and you're watching, let me know what you're doing out here. Till then, the sun's just starting to peak up, a little after 7 o'clock. I've just done my log, and we're right there in the Savannah River. Today's destination is St. Simon or Brunswick, down by Brunswick, Georgia. A little restaurant there, a little marina, Morning Star Marina, and nothing else. So we're gonna do that today. It's gonna be about an 11-hour trip, and then tomorrow, hopefully, we've got a short trip down to Jacksonville, hoping that we've sourced everything from the engines and the generators and everything else. So we should have a pretty good trip today. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm the only one on the bridge pulling us out of here, so everybody else went back down to bed. I guess that's what you get for being dry January. I'm the only one on the bridge. All right, that's it for now. Anyway, we got a tight little turn that we're doing right here, and that's the pilot station right there, and we got a big container ship directly in front of us. So we're gonna kind of stay outside the channel here a little bit, give him some room to make this turn. I haven't heard him on the radio yet, but I would imagine that he'll be calling very shortly and saying, "What are you doing?" I'm gonna stay out of your way. So I gotta get back to it. I gotta make this turn before I run aground. You can see that. Yeah, you can. Look at the. Get the focus. There we go. Look at the wave he's making. That's a shoal right there. That's his weight coming over the shoal. You can see right there, there's not a lot of water right where that blue is. That's that tip. That's that wave that's coming in. Otherwise, it's perfectly flat calm out here. Kind of cool to watch that thing roll in. And we are outside the channel, giving him all the room in the world. Following him in. It's kind of cool. Right over that bank. Well, it's about 11:30. It is pouring rain out and fog. So we got that going for us. Pretty nasty out. I went down for about an hour so you can see all the water just running along the decks here. Our stern station is open. Close that. Got a bird there. Yeah, it's windy, nasty, raining. It's freezing cold, and we're heading to Florida. We were going to stop off in St. Simon, but we talked to the marina, or the shipyard that we were going to go to, and we've got to haul out at 9:30 tomorrow morning, which means that if we leave at St. Simon, we'd have to leave right around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning to make that. So we're going to run down a little further and go to Fernandina Beach and post up there for the night. Hopefully, if we can keep this speed, we'll be there for around 6 o'clock like we were yesterday. It's going to be interesting coming in the fog. I've never actually been into Fernandina Beach. It's a pretty wide entrance, so the radar works, everything works, so it should be relatively easy, and I doubt that there's going to be a lot of people out today because it's turned pretty nasty out. So I'm gonna go back up to the bridge, have some warm coffee, and try and stay warm. Okay, so to continue on our saga, I just did an engine room check about 20 minutes ago. Check the macerator pump and stuff like that because we're gonna have the the tank dry because we're getting work done on the Blackwater tank. So as I was doing so, I looked over to the side over here and noticed that we had a hole in the boat. There's a check valve that goes right out to the sea for a sea strainer, and it's leaking. So I tried pushing down on it a couple of times. It's still leaking. So I'll bring you inside to check on that. It's almost like a sea chest for discharge, but it clearly goes right out to the boat. So that's leaking. So I turned on the crash pump to make sure that the crash pumps worked, and they do. And I pumped out the bilge. So we're gonna have to monitor that. But it was a little unnerving to see water pouring out of a check valve. And I don't know why it's like this or why it's not tied to something else, but something else that needs to get put on the list to get fixed. Apparently we're kicking up some dinner for these seagulls. We are making our approach into Fernandina Beach. Should be there in about 40 minutes. Come around the corner, down through here, and somewhere up in there. Got two sailboats we got to contend with up ahead. Passing those guys. And I got a time lapse coming in. We'll see how that works. bit sporty out. The wind is, there you go. You can see the smokestack there. It's just pushing us on the dock. Sailboat's getting rocked there. And it's like white capping out here. So it's blowing hard. Hopefully this will settle down by tomorrow. But there's probably there's white caps, 1 foot rollers, chop. It's hard to tell, but yeah. Hopefully things change by tomorrow morning. Look at that smoke. That's crazy. Well, that's on. Well, anyway, well, it's early. It's really dark out. It's also really windy. And it's right on our beam. As you can see, it's really windy. The smoke blowing straight off. We don't have a choice. We got to get to Jacksonville, so it's freezing. So I'm gonna pull the boat off the dock. It's rush out, but so the guys are pulling the lines off and we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna try anyway. I have to use a bow thruster, I think. I don't have a choice. We're pinned with a boat in front of us, a boat behind us, and 20 knots of wind keeping us on the dock. So no choice but to use a bow thruster, and hopefully we can get this boat out enough to spin her around. We'll have to wait to see what's gonna happen. Okay, what's going to happen is that we're going to try and pull off the dock by using the bow thruster, and the generator that uses the bow thruster died. So we waited for another hour or so, and I went old school and used spring lines, which is what I should have done in the first place, but wasn't 100% confident of the crew that I had on board in regards to using spring lines to help me off the dock. So we waited until the sun came up, and we got off the dock without a problem in the same wind using no bow thruster. Lesson learned. Don't use a bow thruster. 1 shot of espresso. I need more. I got a pot brewing. Oh, there we go. Loud and clear. All right, I'm out of here. Let's pull this boat off the dock. They must think we're a shrimp boat again. Not want to be that guy out there. I don't know what he's doing. Whew. A lot of chop. About 30 miles to Jacksonville. It's gonna be a cold ride down there. Notice how far to the right I am of the dolphin pilings that I'm supposed to be going in. The guy standing there is where the hole is to get inside. I'm using the wind and the current to drag me up and over, and then I'm settling back down into the current getting my bow in and just sliding over. You can watch I slide the bow right over this guy's head, right over the top of the dolphin pilings, and then start moving my way in, because I have to get the bow almost to that dock, get it in, move it aft, move it in, move it aft, move it in, move it aft, and then turn the boat around so I'm not hitting the port side of the boat as I'm sliding in to that haul well right there. So it's a pretty tricky maneuver. Again, didn't use a bow thruster, just slid it in using old school sticks and using the wind and current to my advantage, or at least negating it as much as possible. That was actually a little stressful. Some pretty decent current, and as you can see, not much to spare, and that's the same thing on the other side, for sure.
But I'm glad we didn't do any damage this morning.
Tight fit.
Not much paint left.
No, we got all of it. Bottom's clean though.
Yeah, kudos to Mickey. What the fuck? Look at that osprey. Awesome. Great omen.
Okay, here we are back up top. Army's landing over there. Lots of helicopters training. Hey, here's the top of the lift. I don't know if you've ever seen the top of the lift before, but there you are. The osprey was sitting right there. So we're gonna pack this thing up. They've got it sort of blocked. They're gonna be moving it back tomorrow. So we're gonna get everything cleaned up here and get out of here. Neat little move. Got her in.